Okay, here we go. Part B. It's going to get a little more complicated, but you know what? If you follow along, look at the steps, you'll be all good. So now remember that with dice, what we're trying to do is add them together. So you can see in step 7, we're going to work on the column that is sum. So go ahead and tap on D2. And then we're going to use the equal sign again. So press the equal sign. And you're going to do B2 plus C2. So make sure you're doing capital B2, B2 plus C2. Now what that does, and you can kind of see, this is really cool, is it highlights what cells you're talking about. What? So cool. So then what it's saying is you're going to add those two cells together, just like you would add the two dice together. So the first dice rolled a 2, second die rolled a 2, you add them together, you get, what is it? Well, it reset the random numbers when I press enter, but 4 and 2 is 6. So now what we're going to do is we are going to copy and paste that again. So we're going to go and say copy, and then we're going to go and say paste, and then again we're going to drag it down. Don't be worried if the numbers change. It's just because we're using that random number thing that every time you change anything, it's just going to change the numbers. So that's okay. Don't worry about it. All right, we just got to get to 500. Again, this is way quicker than trying to go through and add the numbers together by hand. People do this all the time. This is how a lot of computer programs work when you are calculating how much money you owe, for example. Got to add up everything you bought, and you get what you owe. All right, so again, I'm going to pause, make sure you're good. Your numbers are going to be different than mine, so no big deal. Make sure you're there. You can pause the video and then come back. All right, so we're going to skip over column E just to give us some space. And we're going to go to column F, and we're going to type in what you see. You actually have to do this by hand. So we're going to do what number we got as the sum. So this is the number that we got as the sum. And then I'm going to add one thing that's not in the one that you see. And that is the spot for the number 1, which was in your estimates, but it's not in here. So I'm going to add that to your worksheet. If you didn't do that, that's okay. Just adding a little bit to it. All right, so G, we're going to type frequency. And the word frequency means, center it just so it looks nice. Frequency. And then we're going to put probability. The word frequency means how often that came up. So how often did we see 1 as a sum? How often did we see 2 as a sum? How often did we see 3 as a sum, etc. And then you're going to put your own name here, and you're going to make it fancy. So I'm going to put Jarmick, and I'm going to make it fancy. Bold, I'm going to change the number or the letters to be blue, and then I'm going to change, let's see, I'm going to make the cell yellow. It's actually one of my favorite color combinations, yellow and blue. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to type in another formula. So you can see here it says that the formula is equal sign. It's what it says in red on your worksheet. Count. Oops. Okay. Count. Okay. Let's do it. Count if, and you can see it pops up on the bottom, so you can click on that, and that'll help. So count if means we want to see how many times each sum comes up. So count if, and we want to put in the range. So we're going from the first time we threw the dice to the second time we threw the dice. And then the second part of this is we are going to put equal to, and what that means is it means how many times did 2 come up as a sum. If you press enter, 2 came up 15, or sorry, I forgot I changed that. So we're going to change this to 1. 1 came up 0 times. That's because it's impossible to get 1 because you have 2 die. Okay, anyway, if you need help with that, we can talk about it. So then we're just going to do that same thing. We're going to copy this. So copy. We're going to go down and paste this. Now, you'll notice as you try to copy and paste, this number is going to change to 3. It thinks you don't want to do 3, but you really do. It thinks you want 3 because you're going down 1, but you actually want 2. So change that to 2, and then you want to make sure this says 1, and then we don't want to know how many times 1 popped up anymore. We want to know how many times 2 popped up. All right, and then you're just going to continue that, and every single time it's going to say the same thing, except for it's going to say equal 3, and then it's going to say equal 4, and then equal 5, and equal 6. Your numbers are going to be different than mine, but go ahead and pause the video and make sure that you get everything ready to go and come back. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do is look at how do we calculate the probability. So remember that the probability of anything is to, all you have to do is take the amount of times it did what you wanted and divide it by the total times you did the trial. So the total number of times we threw the dice was 500. So we're always going to be dividing by 500, but we're going to do a formula here. And what we're going to do is we are going to go to this, and we're going to say equal to, gotta tap over here, okay, equal to G2 divided by 500. So what that does is it takes the total amount of times you got a 1 and divided by 500. That one's kind of annoying because we didn't get it anytime. But after we do that, we're going to tap on, nope, not that button. And this one looks a little different than the step, so it might be kind of confusing. You're going to tap on number format. You're going to go down to percent, and it turns into a percent automatically for you. So again, this is something where it is just reading your mind. So you're going to copy there, you're going to paste here, and then you're going to paste down the whole column. See how easy that was? It just created all the probabilities for you. Oh my God. This is something where you would use this all the time if you were working in business. You'd want to know how much profit you got. You want to know your percent profit on something, on a certain product, on a certain day, something like that. So this is really, really useful in real life, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to work in business or marketing, advertising, fashion. I mean, I could go on forever. Sports, so many statistics in sports. Okay, I'll stop. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go down, and we're pretty much done. So all we have to do is figure out what your guesses were and put them in this column. So go back to the very beginning, and you're going to type in what your guesses were in here, and you're going to compare them to what you actually got. So take just a minute and type your guesses in and compare them to what you actually got. This would be the point where if you decided to copy the link instead of doing this whole thing by yourself, you would start here, go back to this beginning spot, put in your guesses, and then you could keep going. So you could have skipped this whole thing, but again, then you would have lost all these life lessons that are very useful. All right, I'm going to pause and type in my guesses here, and you're going to do the same. Okay, see you in a second. All right, so this is where you would take a screenshot of this part, and you are going to post it on top of this here. And then you're going to compare it to your guesses. Now, my guesses are pretty close. I'm pretty proud of myself. But that's because I am a math teacher and I've done this experiment before. And so down here it says, look back at your initial guesses. That means what you started with. So that's this column right here. And compare them to the results in the table. So that would be this column right here. How did you do with your guesses? Are your guesses good? Are they bad? That's okay. Either way, remember, we respect and accept you wherever you're at. The whole point of this assignment is to make a guess and then see what happens and then learn from what actually happens. And what surprised you, be sure to give specific examples. So here's where something where I've noticed a lot of students need to work on this is give specific examples. So what that means is pick 2 or 3 different things that surprised you. So for me, I might say, okay, I'm really surprised that I was so off with these 3. I'm not doing this very well. I'm surprised I did so terribly here. Right? And I was just guessing and estimating, but I'm a math teacher. I feel like I should do better than that. Anyway, so something you could do is like take a little screenshot of just the parts that you were surprised about, or you could type something that might say something like, I am surprised that, and then say what you want to say, because, and then say what you want to say. So I would say in order to, really, really do a good job at giving specific examples, you're going to want to use a sentence frame that's something like this. I am surprised that I guessed 20%, but it was actually 30% sum of 7. Because I assumed 7s would happen more often than the other numbers, something like that. All right, so the rest of it, you're on your own. Just make your best guess. This is the part we're going to do tomorrow together. So I want you to think about these and come ready to have a great discussion, because I know you guys have big brains and you are beautiful people. You make beautiful mistakes, and you also deserve respect and acceptance wherever you're at, and we'll learn together and share our ideas tomorrow. Okay, you guys, I will see you, and good luck answering these questions. Have fun. Bye.